to become Surge Strength Dryland certified. And we only offer open enrollment to become certified a few times a year, typically at the end of each championship season afterwards. So it's usually a spring and a fall one. And this is not to diminish the programs either, but I actually think that they work better the more that we've done this now. So this has probably been going into our third year that we've offered both the certification and the programs. And where I really see the sweet spot is for coaches that become SSDC and still get us to work with their team to create a dryland program. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but just making sure you guys understand the distinction of the programs, and then there's the certification, and then there's the option, obviously, if you are certified, to apply when we have openings for more coaches on staff. And so the curriculum for the certification is pretty comprehensive. And I've had people in education, people with high degrees in strength and conditioning, praise in terms of how well together it's put and comprehensive, but also speaking to both beginners and advanced. So I split it up into two sections. The first section is the foundations modules. So in total, the course is about 22 hours, 200 plus lessons. Each lesson averages about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can kind of take them in little chunks. But the first half, the foundation modules, that's just setting the stage of here's exercise science basics, here's movement kinesiology basics, exercise physiology basics that you're going to need to know to then get specific when we talk about how to apply it and actually create a dryland program. So what you're probably quote unquote looking for is usually at the end, the second half, but you got to make sure you understand the first half to then apply it correctly, especially when you're creating a program. The other thing I really tried to do hard in terms of setting up the layout of the certification curriculum is making sure I address different learning styles. So right off the bat, you can print out this action sheet and it'll kind of give you a way to check off your progress as you go. Because sometimes it can be daunting for some people thinking, oh my God, 200 lessons, 20 plus hours. How am I going to fit this in? Just a chunk of the time. Now, some coaches have knocked it out in a weekend. Other coaches will take a month, maybe a few months, maybe in a few years. It's okay. It's all self-paced. So whatever speed you want to go, we also have quizzes along the way to make sure you're picking up the knowledge before the final exam at the end. Now, I'm going to give you a couple slides of just teams that are represented that have at least one coach either currently enrolled or has become SSDC. And it's pretty insane, the numbers. I have not updated this recently. I keep saying I will, but I just have not found the time to do it. It keeps growing, and we're now at almost 50 countries. I expect to break that, being represented in this next open enrollment of at least one coach from that country becoming SSDC. So it's pretty amazing what we've done in just a few years' time with this dryland certification. Eric is a great example of that coach. So we worked with him in creating his team dryland program for many, many years. I mean, I want to say it was maybe even 5 years that we had worked with Eric. And then we get to the point where we offer the certification. He was one of the first ones to jump on it, and we still kept helping him with the program. And that just shows that when Eric understands dryland at a higher level, our dryland certified coaches can program at a higher level, and we can just have better discussions. And specifically, Eric talks about how it helped his staff get all on the same page and figure out, all right, how do we do this dryland puzzle? If you're a strength coach, personal trainer, performance coach, this can be a great addition to your ongoing education. And John here is a perfect example of this. He is now on staff with us at Surge Strength and doing an amazing job. And he was actually the coach of the swimmer that took the gap year that then ended up getting that scholarship to the University of Hawaii. So that was all John, working with him from the assessment part to coaching him through to changing the workout to now the results. So if you're out there working with swimmers, and John had a history of working with swimmers, so it actually helped him kind of get through the course well and really shine through the hiring process. But even if you're beginning and kind of think about, hey, I have some swimmers I'm working with, or I want to learn more of this, this is still a great first step, even if you don't feel that you're a veteran in this space. We have a lot of rehabilitation, healthcare practitioners, manual therapists, things of that nature that sign up. This is Josh from Alaska here, and he's athletic trainer certified. That's a lot of education to go through, yet he was still learning stuff going through the first module. So making sure who is this not for, right? So if you're tired kicking, if you still haven't even signed up for a 101, you need to sign up for a 101. Start there first. It's only a few lessons, take you less than an hour to get through the 101 course, as opposed to maybe biting off a little bit more than you can chew with the certification. And then two, if you're not looking for magic results, and I could put this for the program section as well, we would charge a lot more if we were able to create magic. And we're still looking for that golden chalice elixir as well. And if you know it all, you probably aren't even signed up for this webinar, so I'm not worried about you. But we really have been proving this over and over again. So with the certification, how I thought about it is, what did I do when I was working with people like Cullen going into the Beijing Olympics, who he was trying to get stronger. He was trying to maximize his window in the sport. And then he ends up being on one of the most iconic relays in Olympic history, with Lezak chasing down Bernard there to keep Phelps's gold medal streak going. It's the same kind of stuff I did with him, with Mark Gangloff and others, that propelled them to success at the Olympic level. And I tried to break that down in chunks of how I can teach it to you as coaches and to our staff to make sure we're continuing delivering Dryland programs that have success over the long haul. And here's just some snippets that we clipped in the early first year or so of just the reaction. Again, we haven't even updated this. There's just so many, it's hard to keep up with. We're trying to pivot more to just making sure we're continuing to focus on the teams and individuals in front of us and updating the certification as we go. But it was just overwhelming, the amount of happiness, satisfaction that we saw from coaches, especially being like, this is the resource I need, because Dryland is such a weak spot for most coaches. They don't understand it. And this is a great example of, I think, the level we achieved with the certification. So this lady, she has not only a master's in strength and conditioning, but quote unquote, the gold standard of certification in strength and conditioning, the CSCS. It's been around, I don't know, probably 40 years at this point. It was one of the first certifications I got straight out of college, because you had to have a college bachelor's degree in exercise science or related field to even sit for the exam. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through to even get those letters behind your name. But she was blown away by what we had created. So the fact that I hit that kind of level, but then on the other hand, we have beginners who have no background and they still feel like it is great. So I think I really did a good job of helping both camps. So again, whether you're an expert in strength and conditioning or you just are dipping your toe in the water, this can be a good solution for you as a coach. Oh, I've skipped this. I wanted to put this in because there's so much that I also pack into the curriculum aside from just the lessons. But the case studies is what I thought was one of the biggest bangs for your buck, in terms of, I went back through the archives and tried to find what were some of the best programs that I put together, so you can follow my path and really start to understand, how do I think through these things? And it really is a new learning process that you should think about when you enroll to become SSDC. So here's just a quick rundown of all the extras aside from the curriculum that we do. And I've been selling online courses enough that this, we could easily kind of dice it up and do that. But I'm trying to keep it as economical as possible, so as many coaches can onboard as well. And so you see here, we're trying to keep it as reasonable as possible. But the goal is to have these words, emotions, emojis connect with you about Dryland. And I know a lot of coaches are maybe frustrated or feel they're unorganized or behind the eight ball on it. Becoming SSDC can really help with that. And so now I want to show you a couple of the coaches that have gone through it. And we'll see Anne again before she joined us on staff. So here we go.
I wanted something that I felt like was geared towards swimming.
Took my personal training and it was good, but then it still didn't give me that edge of, okay, I'm going to have to do the extra research to understand exactly how this applies to swimming.
I think that a swim coach that only knows how to swim coach then doesn't know anything.
I think I'm probably similar to a lot of coaches out there. We just run out of time at some point. By the time I want to teach all of this to all of my staff, I can't do that and run a practice and create workouts and do all of those other things.
You can't blame your coaches when they're doing the wrong things in Dryland or the wrong things in the water. When you don't want to invest in your coaches.
Oh, well, that's why I kept getting hurt. I was totally doing that out of context.
You just have to keep on learning all the time, even though you have the knowledge. You have to keep on hearing other people talk about it and seeing their point of view.
There's an abundance of knowledge in here which will make you feel more grounded and more knowledgeable. You'll feel a lot more competent in being able to deliver something like this and put it together.
It's a comfort level of knowing I've got my parameters of where I need to be and what I need them to achieve. And then you've got a whole bunch of resources as well to kind of build that.
Yeah. So the process of learning surge strength was the huge value use of my time.
There's accessibility. You have great Q&A sessions and follow-up sessions that they don't have to come to me just for those questions. That you're an immediate resource, and it's a well laid out program that takes away a lot of the initial questions that they have when they come to me anyway.
You'd already laid out the map for me. I didn't need to figure it out.
I mean, the $500 to certify them in something, or the $50 to certify them in something for 1 year of coaching. You know, if you do that every year, you spend $500 a year to make sure that your kids don't get hurt and your staff is a higher quality. And the other thing I found is as you invest in your coaches, they stick around longer.
You're certified at something, you should probably have put some time and effort into it to really learn it. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend the cert program for any coach that's running Dryland.
I absolutely recommend.
I would promote the program without a doubt. Anybody that asks, I go ahead and share your information with them and tell them that start here. And I think it's been a huge asset for our program overall. So thank you.
All right. Joe, if you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself and turn your camera on. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Joe, we can hear you.
Fantastic.
So thanks. First off, Joe, thank you for taking time out of your day to be on the webinar and give us a live review of how was it becoming SSDC? Because did you finish it recently? I can't remember if it was recently or you'd been enrolled for a while.
Yeah, so I kind of checked both of those boxes. I had signed up for it probably as one of the earlier ones, and then unfortunately had some health issues, and I just kind of took myself away from everything. And I'm going to tell a little story about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had passed the exam in February, and I feel like I'm this guy who's on the top of the mountain professing the benefits of surge, but strength training as a whole. Because as I will talk about, I use myself as the example, and like that experiment of one, and the results are genuine. So I'm kind of thrilled to be here to talk.
That's awesome. I want to go back to, if you can remember, what spurred you to even enroll in the first?
Yeah. So should I just answer that, or should I kind of jump in?
Yeah. Whatever
part of it, or
yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I first off, thank you very much for inviting me to participate. I know I had sent you an unsolicited email recently, just telling you what I thought of the program and how how I came to be part of this, and it kind of triggered you inviting me to speak here, and I'm very excited to do so, and I'm thankful. And to everyone who's online, I was once in your seat too, and listening to Chris and others give their story. So I'm happy to be here and share mine with you. My background is likely very different than many of yours. I'm not a swimmer. I swim, but I didn't grow up in the swimming world. I didn't belong to teams. I didn't spend countless hours in the swimming pool doing laps. I probably pushed it off to the side. I'm an ultra runner. I'm a cyclist. I've run more than 20 races of 100 miles or longer. I compete in 24-hour races on what's called a fixed gear bicycle.
Oh, yeah. Wow, Joe. that is intense. I can understand that.
Yeah. That is, it's kind of like a pleasurable thing about liking pain. I consider myself to be an athlete, and I'm always up to try anything. But I'll tell you, if you said to me, Joe, you could run 10 hours in the pouring rain in the woods or swim in this luxury swimming pool with heat and everything, I will tell you, I would have chosen to run every single time. But I'm also going to tell you that surge strength has kind of changed me. I've embraced swimming because of what I got out of it. So how did I find myself here? So a couple of years ago, I needed surgery to repair my Achilles tendon. And I told myself that since I had to be non-weight bearing, I was going to use stretchy bands to practice in my home. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos, and stretchy bands seems to be what's promoted. Some of them come with little paddles on the end or handles. And I had this great big plan in my head, excuse me. I was going to hook them up, sit on a chair, have my cast out in front of me, and do my workouts. So, I started off with yellow, which I believe is probably level 2. And I thought that it was kind of hard initially, like 25 reps per arm was like, whoa. But I worked myself up to several hundred with each arm, did everything in front of the mirror. My form was like right there. Graduated to the next color, which was green. And this was, God, I could not wait to get back into the pool. The interesting thing is that while it didn't start off this way, it ended up going through the COVID period and all the pools were closed. So I had many months in front of my mirror with my bands. So when I got into that pool, I was like, yes, this is going to be fantastic. And guess what? Not much changed. I had some tendonitis in my elbow from doing all that constant movement, but my form was great. I had the right arm angle. But I was getting tired, and it had nothing to do with the breathing. I knew I had all that right. I just didn't feel that I gained a lot of strength.
Joe, even though you seemed like you were on top of all the technique and all this other stuff, it sounds like, right? Like you're like, hey, I want to do this right. It's not just, if it's sloppy, whatever, So not only were you thinking about, I got to work hard, you were still even looking at the technique part as well.
Oh, totally. I'm a personal trainer, and form to me is like of the utmost importance. Like, I don't care if people say, I could lift more. Doesn't matter. If that form is not there, then we kind of lost the benefit. And from what I gained, first off, with swimming, I kind of taught myself. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and then go to the pool and practice. And I did take lessons, but I'm kind of a stickler for that because what I got from it is that swimming is a very technical oriented sport. It's almost like golf. A little change of a hand motion could change an awful lot. So I wanted to put everything I could into doing it right. And I will tell you, it was a little frustrating.
So you did all this work. You tried to focus on your technique. You get back in the water. You're not getting a result. So then, that's definitely frustrating. Is that kind of what led you to search out to find us at Surge?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Chris. Exactly. As I just mentioned a second ago, I'm a National Academy of Sports Medicine. It's abbreviated as NASM. I know you yourself are
one of my first certs too. Yeah.
Okay. And they require continuing education. And I have been certified for the last 10 years, and I've generally used courses that they themselves offer to continue my education. But I searched out, and I learned that Surge, your program, is actually accredited by them and counts towards my continuing ed. And that immediately made me feel really good about your program because they don't just take anybody. Like, their courses are really stringent in meeting their requirements for what dictates an acceptable level of knowledge to be certified by them again. So like I said, I found your program and I decided to sign up and go through it. And so basically I use myself as the athlete, as the experiment. If this is what you said to do, this is what I did. Now, because I am certified as a personal trainer, I said, you know what, Joe? Put all of that aside. Everything put aside. Approach Chris's program like this is the first time you're being taught strength training to the extent that I could. So that's what I did. If your program said to do this, I did that. And the thing that was fabulous about it is, one, the familiarity I had with the exercises was immediately there, meaning that you're choosing exercises that are not out there. You're not making stuff up. And to that point as well, something I love that you actually say in one of the videos as part of the program is that there's no need to stand on a ball and do an exercise because the amount of benefit you gain from that is not worth the risk of falling off. And it doesn't translate to the pool anyway. And I liked that approach. It kind of aligned with my own. So I continued to go through the program. I did the different routines. I practiced the way you did. The tap on the stomach core tensioning thing. God, I love that.
Yeah,
God, I love that. Yes, that's not easy.
See, he's giving you all the little morsels, guys. On this
sorry, I'm sorry if I'm giving it too much.
That's good. It's good. I like it.
So, primarily, I have worked with runners in my life, and I have worked with a broad spectrum. Some are actually I'm very lucky to say that some have actually been world record holders. Some are collegiate athletes. Some are actually in 8th grade. So I kind of range the spectrum. And it's always been my philosophy that I want to train them for overall strength and durability because runners want to run. You give them 20 minutes off of work, they want to run. They don't want to do things. But so my goal was to make them durable so that they can actually do their workouts, do them well, rebound to come back the next day or whatever it is to do their own thing over again. So that's always been my approach. As I went through Surge, you have all these like light bulb moments, like, wow, I didn't think of that, or that aha moment. And for me, the thing that really sealed it was this great aha moment. You professed throughout the program that strong athletes make strong swimmers. I feel that strong athletes make strong runners. Oh my God. They don't just make strong runners. They don't just make strong swimmers. They're strong athletes throughout what they do. And then it's their specific training in their realm of concentration that helps them get better because of that strength and the ability to do the workouts. And
for sure,
that to me was fabulous to actually sit there and be like, wow, whoa, aha moment, you know?
That's good to hear, Joe, because I actually went back to, and I thought about a lot of the triathletes that I worked with as well. And they would be blown away because it's very much the same thing you see in swimming. Work, miles, right? Like get the volume in. And for some people, they can handle it and not break down too bad. But for a lot of people that I saw, they would just get these knee aches or ankles or legs or low back or something. And I would always take the approach of, all right, well, let's just get you a little stronger. Let's just see what happens, right? Let's just see if you can do a couple pull-ups, if we can get you to deadlift and squat a little bit more, what happens? And in a few months, they're like, oh my God, I can run so much easier. And we didn't even do running, Chris. How did you do that? So I'm glad you saw the same thing, Joe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at the end of the program, I'm certified and whatnot, but if I look at myself, my results are noticeable. In terms of pull-ups, I don't recall where I started, but it wasn't many. I could do 17 consecutive pull-ups now, and that to me is thrilling.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to go to the gym and do that. The weights that I use in the different exercises, I did track that throughout from where I started to where I am, and everything has shown good improvement. I mean, really good improvement. And what I was going to say is that, I feel that I've improved in the water. I feel good there. I feel good out of the water. I just feel healthy. And there's something that I wanted to point out that I know that sometimes I get with some of the athletes I work with and when I'm trying to talk about strength training is that we're not talking about building physique athletes. We're not looking to become bodybuilders. That's not the focus. And the beautiful thing about strength training and approach is that that's controllable based on reps, weight, other factors.
And so many people don't know that, Joe. So many people don't know that. And then they get down the road 6 months and they're like, why isn't my program working?
I know. And throughout your program, you're very consistent in speaking about that. And I liked it. And I can't say that I used that prior to your program with myself. Like, I kind of wanted a little bit of hypertrophy. I'm a thin guy. Wanted to get a little bigger. But it actually makes a lot more sense to me now because I still want to be the runner. I still want to be a good swimmer. I want to be good at what I do. And these particular sports don't require to be like, Joe, big guy. And I don't want that extra bulk. Naturally, some will come, but you got the point.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
anything else, Joe, you want to share with coaches in particular? I think of coaches in particular, whether it's a swim coach or a coach like yourself that's working with athletes. Any final thoughts to them as we open up enrollment next week for people to enroll to become SSDC?
I would 100% wholeheartedly support and recommend the Surge program because of the way it's outlined, the approach that's dictated throughout, and the results that I've seen with myself and a few of the athletes that I have since taken on to continue this type of program for others. It's a good program, Chris.
Joe, thanks so much. That means so much, especially from a personal trainer and one that was able to say, okay, I'm gonna have an open mind. Like that makes me even more appreciate that
Thank you.
you bought into it, because not a lot of coaches, I would say I've run into probably a lot of strength coaches and trainers that are so stuck in their way, especially when you get 5-10 years into it, right? Like you're
Yeah.
pretty fixed. I'm not going to change it. So the fact that you were even open to new ideas, but then that it impressed you so much that you actually changed a lot of the stuff, that just really means a lot to me. So I'm glad I responded. First of all, glad you emailed me, and I'm glad I responded to you, that you took the time to come on here and give people a live testimonial of that. So Joe, thanks so
You're
much.
very welcome.
Feel free
You're
to
welcome.
turn off. Yeah, feel free to turn off your mic and camera, and we're just going to go Q&A for the rest of the session. So if you want to stick around, but thanks again for showing up. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And good luck to everybody.
Awesome.
Take care, Chris.
Thanks you.
Bye.
I saw another one there, Heiko down. I can never remember if I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry, but he was a really early subscriber to becoming SSDC. So I appreciate him echoing that. So like I said, guys, we just had a few slides left. So I put the link to the website up top, but the specific one for the certification, if you want to learn more, is surgestrength.com/certification. If you scroll all the way down and you click enroll, it's closed right now, but that will put you on the wait list. I would highly recommend joining the wait list if you're interested. Waitlist people are going to get first access when it opens next week, and they will also get some special discounts and other offers as well. So if you're at all interested in becoming SSDC, go to the site, sign up on the wait list.